Okay, let's see if this works. 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 Right, I need to mute you. Let's see if this works. Right, let's see if this works. Right, let's see if this works. Right. Okay, feedback too much on that, I think. Right, well, let's hope this is working, shall we? Okay, so I don't know if I'm going to get any viewers or not. Hopefully some. Turns out I cannot monitor your comments, or it looks like I can't. It's a little bit frustrating. But we'll see how it goes. Basically, I can't seem to mute my YouTube on my phone, which is very irritating. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, because otherwise it tends to... if I could mute it, we'd be fine, but I don't seem to be able to. So if you're making comments on that, then I can't see you. However, I can monitor my Just Giving page. I have literally no idea if anybody's watching this. Right, I'm just finishing off the chocolate gluten-free cupcakes there. The lemon gluten-free cupcakes are in the oven. And that is the end of the gluten-free, because only 3 of you wanted gluten, dairy, vegan, whatever free. And so I only made 2 batches, none of you wanted vanilla, so you've got lemon and chocolate. Okay, so that means we're going to start with the vanilla normal cupcakes. Why am I doing this? For the Alzheimer Society. The Alzheimer Society being absolutely fantastic in terms of providing resources for sufferers, families, and carers with dementia, which is a fuck of a disease. It isn't something that just happens to you when you get older. It's a proper illness. And it's a right sod. Sorry for those of you who were hoping that this was going to be a live Empire thing. It's not. It just happens to be on the same weekend. I'm baking cupcakes, so you know, it happens. Right, I need to share this with Facebook because I don't think I have. Looks like there's one person watching me. Hello, one person. You're very nice. I suspect you might be Weasel. Yes, happy birthday if you are Weasel. I have not yet baked your cupcakes because you are not a gluten-free person. I have, however, started the washing up. Yeah, I'm afraid some parts of my kitchen I'm going to go off camera. It's terrible, isn't it? I would imagine some of you are going to get bored. If you would like to get a chance to win even more cupcakes, you can take part in a competition. This is a picture of a cupcake right here. If you donate £2 onto my Alzheimer's Just Giving page, then You can tell me how many sprinkles you think are on this cupcake. They're blue and green, and I do have a specific number. So put it on my Alzheimer's page, how many sprinkles you think are on that cupcake, and you can win more cupcakes, which I am baking for you now. Okay, let's get on with the least requested cupcake. Poor vanilla, left out on its own. Okay, but we've got a heck of a lot of amount in this. So I've actually got a catering size bag of caster sugar that I am dipping my cups into. I've got these fantastic measuring cups that Lee gave me. Metamors are brilliant people. And they're in the shape of Russian dolls, and absolutely fantastic things. Love them. Right, okay. So the reason I put the caster sugar in first is because I like to mix caster sugar and butter. It's the order in which you tend to do it for Victoria's sponge. I've got two methods of making any sort of sponge cake, and one is Delia Smith's tried and true. Everything goes into the bowl at the same time and you zhuzh it up, which is fine if you've got an electric mixer, which I do not currently. But if you don't have an electric mixer and you're doing it by hand, then you want to go back to, in my opinion, the original Victoria sponge recipe, where you mix up the butter and the sugar first and then you add in the eggs. So it's essentially almost like dividing your wet and dry ingredients. And the reason is that just mixes a lot better, provides better consistency. I mean, seriously, if you've got an electric whisk, I'm not convinced it makes that much difference unless you get onto chocolate cakes, where I will argue that if you're using cocoa, it does start to make a difference. Alright, just going to wash my hands. A lot of this stream is basically going to be me going, I've got to wash my hands. Luckily for me having eczema, every so often that will be interspersed with me going, and now I need to moisturise my hands so they can't go anywhere near the ingredients. Right, I mentioned I didn't have an electric whisk. So I'm using butter, the butter which I've just popped on the hob. Somebody's trying to phone me. I don't think it's anybody important. I was thinking it might be related to you guys, but I don't think it is. All right, anybody taking me up on the offer of the competition? £2. Guess how many sprinkles are on that cake? Right, you might be thinking if you live far away and you're just tuning into me live, you can't possibly get cupcakes. So here's what I'll do, because the postal system is a bit dodgy. We will see where you live. And if it is drivable, I will deliver cupcakes to you myself should you win. If it is not drivable, then come the end of lockdown, I will come and I will bake cupcakes for you, possibly even in your kitchen. Do you remember the time when we were allowed to go into each other's houses? I do. It was a time. It was great. I personally miss going into other people's homes, which, put like that, is a little bit strange sounding, isn't it? So despite the fact that this butter has been on a tray, I need to look at getting out a few cupcakes. Yes, okay. First batch of cupcakes out of the oven. These are the gluten-free lemon cakes. They smell lemony. They look pretty decent actually, so that's good. Despite the fact that this butter has been on the top of the oven doing its thing, it is bit of an arse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it over to sit on the oven for a little bit longer. I'm going to wash my hands. And then while I load up the cake tins, cake tubs for the gluten-free chocolate, it can have a bit of time to think about whether it wants to melt or not. The answer is it does want to melt. And the answer is that these cupcakes are only just out of the oven, so don't want to come out of their cases. So I'm going to have to keep hitting this thing a bit. It's very annoying that this is slightly less interactive than I hoped it was going to be. So what I hoped was I could have my YouTube channel muted on my phone and I'd be able to talk to you guys. The best laid plans of mice and men seem to be going wrong. Okay. Actually, to be honest, today we're not doing too badly in terms of things going wrong. The stream seems to be working, in that I had Tabby log in from elsewhere in the house and she seems to be able to watch me. I'm hoping I've promoted it enough that people have gone, oh yeah, we've got nothing else to do. We'll watch Mish bake cupcakes in the background for an hour. I mean, we'll see whether that happened or not. Again, it is an Empire weekend, so there's a lot of other things to actually watch. So Mish, not even as Lissa, live baking cupcakes may not be, I just don't. Also, it's a Saturday. I mean, actual cupcake day when the Alzheimer Society do it properly tends to be midweek, and it is. I think it's next Thursday, but I work on Thursdays, so I was like, okay, I'll go for the nearest Saturday. Looked at my Google Calendar in the middle of lockdown and go, oh, I don't have anything on this Saturday because no Empire. Well, that's starting to look a bit more mixed. This is good. Anybody who is concerned about my chronic fatigue, know that you're not alone in this. I am powering myself today through a lot of sitting down yesterday, and cherry coke and painkillers. So I will be feeling like shit tomorrow. But it is my usual weekend to do a lot of standing up, because if this lockdown wasn't happening, I would be LARPing in a field. And by LARPing in a field, what I actually mean is massaging for fake money. Yes, that's right. I would be performing my work, which involves a lot of standing up, which is the sort of work that I haven't been able to do since March. See, I gave my last massage in early March. I've been doing video consultations, which has been interesting, and people have been sort of popping bits of money on my, I've got one of those coffee accounts, which has been quite nice. And I've mostly been sort of doing, and this is how you, okay, that's looking good. This is how you massage yourself. And people have been pretty okay with that, actually, and quite generous with coffee. Now, I've put down my other bowl somewhere in this kitchen. Oh, right, no, it's still got the gluten-free chocolate on it. That's why I can't find it. Okay. Let's see how this goes. silicone moulds, not wanting to give up their delicious cupcakey innards. Okay. So for the gluten-free lemon cupcakes, they're essentially a lemon drizzle recipe, and the standing joke is, okay, no, it's just those two initial ones that I tried to get out that aren't giving up their deliciousness. So the standing joke for my my lemon drizzle cake is that it's not so much a lemon drizzle cake as a lemon swamp cake. It's an entirely accurate joke, to be fair. I tend to make quite an epic amount of drizzle. Because if you're going to make a lemon drizzle cake, you want it to be quite, full of sugary goodness. So the lemon gluten-free cakes, I am embracing my swamp cake nature because I couldn't find a way of making really good gluten and dairy free lemony cupcake frosting. So I'm doing something else, hopefully, which will turn out to be a bit special for those who are hoping for a lemon gluten-free cupcake. Fantastic. And Tabby has just popped in with a cocoa delivery. It's great. We haven't had too many technical hitches at all. This. No, I'm talking to the webcam.
Yeah, no, I'm replying to you.
Oh, okay, sorry. We haven't had too many technical hitches at all. And mostly things seem to be running smoothly. Apart from the fact that I can't interact with anybody. So I can't mute my YouTube channel on my phone. Now, I only started trying to do that once I started streaming it. So is there any chance you could take my phone?
Yeah.
Try and load YouTube on it and then mute it?
Sure, if you can log me into it.
Yes, no problem. Okay, so YouTube is there.
I will take this away and do it.
Yeah, because the feedback loop was something horrid.
Yeah, I can imagine. How do I get this now? There we go.
It's yours.
Yeah, I know, but I've never really used it. You're the only person who's ever used it.
So yeah, hopefully some interactivity might happen in a bit, which would be nice. And as I apparently knock everything onto the floor, wash my silicone molds, you will see this is the thing that is going to slow us up. Because I did order some cupcake trays, but obviously they have not come. So we are stuck with me using the same molds to hopefully get a bit of a production line going. Obviously, the rest are going to have cases in, so it won't be quite as messy as this first lot, which I had hoped to do actually before the stream started. But the main problem with that was that we got bogged down in making the sound happen, which was a bit of an arse. And took a bit longer than we expected. Then I took half an hour for lunch and to talk to me more. So a load of you know that I work with a guy with dementia. Some of you do, some of you don't. My grandma also has dementia. That's not streaming.
Okay. Don't look at me.
Is it stopped?
I don't know. How would I tell? Oh, yeah, there it
it's
is.
a delay. Okay, that's fine. I just didn't know what the delay was.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I've got it plugged in, so you need to work out how to make it not switch itself off.
that's fine. I can do that. Okay, so hopefully now I've worked out that there's a bit of a delay. I'll be able to see if anybody is watching. Actually, is anybody watching? Oh heck! I've got like 3 of you. Wow, that's amazing. I'm currently boring the pants off 3 of you. It's amazing. Okay. Yes, so I work with Alzheimer with dementia. And my grandma has Alzheimer's as well, which I find quite difficult, actually. I find it less difficult to work within a professional setting than a family member having Alzheimer's, which I don't think is particularly shocking, to be honest. Because obviously in a professional setting, you are at work, TM, and you just turn on your professional brain. Okay, so these are the chocolate cupcakes they're too big. There we go. These are the chocolate gluten-free cupcakes. Baked just after the gluten-free lemon cupcakes. And they look pretty chocolatey. And they're going to be pretty normal. I'm not doing anything extra like I am with the that fork. That's not very good. I'm not doing anything extra like I am with the gluten-free lemon ones, and that's mostly because of the frosting. I'm doing a fairly exciting cupcake frosting for pretty much everyone else, but gluten-free, guys. The chocolate frosting should be pretty ordinary, but the decorations are exciting. If they go correctly, they may not. And the normal cupcake frosting obviously is normal cupcake frosting. So very exciting. It's just you guys who can't cope with gluten or dairy. You get a raw deal. So I'm doing something funky for you lemon swamp cakes. Hopefully. I mean, I have all these great plans. We'll see if it works. Right. Obviously, I'm going to need to wash my hands again. But frankly, if you're cooking cupcakes and you don't end up licking your finger at some point, are you even cooking cupcakes? I don't believe so. Right, I've got 3 of you watching me. I still got 3 of you? Oh God, I've got 4 of you now. Hi! Go on, donate £2 on my Alzheimer's page, and guess how many sprinkles there are on this cupcake. Right, so can I see my Alzheimer's page? I can. Can I refresh my Alzheimer's page? Let's see if anybody has guessed how many sprinkles on the cupcake. I've only got £10 more to get, which is quite exciting. Which I would like to do. Right, okay, so that's the chocolate gluten-free cupcakes in. I'm midway through the normal cupcake bake. Okay, so I haven't added dry ingredients because I need to wash up my chocolate bowl. Okay. So back to what I was saying about the way I make cupcakes. I base it all off the ancient Vicky sponge recipe, as I was saying. Especially if I don't have access to an electric whisk, which you'll note I do not have access to an electric whisk today. But what I do have is There's a lot of willpower and a working memory, which means I know roughly how to bake cupcakes. The other reason that I base it all off this old Vicky sponge recipe, and this is where I'm going to put away the gluten-free flour instead of using it for everything else, is because for chocolate cake, I find that if you want to make it really chocolatey, you change, you add your wet and your dry ingredients separately, so that you can add as. I'm not doing chocolate cake. I've just finished chocolate cake. I'm in the middle of doing a vanilla sponge. Right. Okay. Multitasking. It's a thing I can do. So no chocolate in this one. Aren't you all glad that you said you wanted me to bake chocolate cake? Right, no chocolate in this one. Let's go with vanilla. Okay. I've got quite a nice vanilla bean essence. It's fair trade, it's organic. Tastes really good. It's the Taylor and College one. I also quite like Nielsen's vanilla essence. I don't know whether you tuned in to try and get baking tips, but hey, baking tips. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, that's happening. Okay, that smells really nice and vanilla-y. So I don't bother sieving flour because it's usually not very coarse. I think if I was making a cake, the only time I tend to sieve flour is when you're lining your tin, and then you run marge over it, and then you sort of sieve a fine amount of flour over the top so that the cake de-sticks, basically. Okay, so I am doubling up here. I have added not yet enough eggs. This is the problem with suddenly realising that you needed to empty the oven quickly. Like, quick. I've only done 2 eggs. Now, if I was properly doubling up, I should be adding 4 eggs to this mix. But I find that if you double up eggs, it actually doesn't, it gets too liquid, and I have no idea why that is. I'm sure somebody who actually had, a cooking qualification would tell me, oh, I'm stirring it wrong, or I don't know, or no, I shouldn't double up for XYZ very good reason. Or in fact, I bet somebody with a science qualification in chemistry would be able to tell me, no, this is why you don't quite double up eggs. A lot of baking I do by eye. I've got the measurements in my head because my memory works. And it's essentially 4-4-4-2. So that gives me a whole load of ratios that I can then mess around with. And the 2 is eggs, and the 4 is sugar, flour, butter. Now I know some people use milk in their cupcakes and sponge cake recipes, but not one I have. Obviously, chocolate cake is a little different. I'll come to that. I'm actually making chocolate cake. I'm currently making vanilla. It's going to stay in my head, right? Vanilla. Okay, so that's my vanilla sponge recipe. Off to one side. This is when it comes to the bit where we're going to start to make a bit of a backlog, unfortunately, which was always going to be the case. And I was attempting to get around by dint of getting things baked early, but didn't quite happen the way I wanted it to. So there we go. Right, okay, so that's the vanilla. Normal. I don't need to worry too much now about cross-contamination in terms of ingredients because the gluten-free stuff is either in the oven or on the other side of the kitchen. However, I will just wipe things down. Right, what am I making next? Oh, I'm going for lemon next. Okay. All good. Yeah. This is when I start making large amounts of stuff. Because a lot of you liked lemon and chocolate as flavours. Okay, this is obviously for the Alzheimer Society that I'm doing this. If you've just joined us, because there's more people. I work with people with Alzheimer's. It's their cupcake day, the Alzheimer Society Cupcake Day today. So I'm joining in. Normally I'd be inviting you into my home to try cupcakes. Instead, watch me make them. Okay, so lemon cupcakes, what am I doing? Sugar first. And yeah, this is where we start using large amounts because a lot of you were really into the idea of making cupcakes, or me making cupcakes for you. Alzheimer's is a disease, as I was saying. I work with a guy with Alzheimer's. My grandma has Alzheimer's. Quite far progressed, actually, in her case. And I find dementia very, very upsetting to be around. I find the disintegration of a person's sense of self and a person's ability to locate themselves within the world around them really quite upsetting. I'm pretty sure I'm not alone with that. Oh, thank God. Keeping the butter on top of the oven is the best decision that I've made today. So it's going in much nicer. And there's a lot of butter because we're now starting to make cakes in silly quantities. I don't know why the Alzheimer's Society does a cupcake day. It's something that's very simple, socialisation over food. A lot of the problems that you get with dementia, certainly in its initial stages, are not the dementia itself per se. It's the isolation that gives to the person because you cannot locate yourself within your day-to-day life. And it becomes harder and harder to connect with other people. Now, obviously in the later stages of Alzheimer's, all bets are off. But in the early stages, when you're just being a little bit forgetful, simple acts of socialisation are pretty important. And that's pretty much what I do in my work, really. I mean, I also do a whole lot of other practical stuff. But the ability for you yourself to connect with friends when you forget what day it is, you forget you've planned to do something, you've gone out the front door, and which shop were you meeting your mate in? You just need other people to make a little bit more extra effort for you. And in the early stages, other people just need to make more effort because you are very hyper aware of the mistakes that you're making. And it's quite frightening. So cupcakes, brightly coloured, easily recognisable, food. What do we do around food? It's a basic human activity. We socialise. And that is quite nice and simple. Pretty much wherever you're at in the Alzheimer's progression. and it is unfortunately progressive. Currently, there's no cure, and treatments are of variable success. The Alzheimer Society is working on a cure, and it's researching into Alzheimer's. We know a heck of a lot more than we did. For a while, a long while actually, dementia and Alzheimer's was thought to be just a progression of aging, and it's not. It is very different. There is a lot of difference between a healthy old person who is a little absent-minded and somebody who's got dementia. But yeah, it's the sense of self that that really concerns me and worries me, because how much of ourselves do we locate within things that we are physically doing or even mentally doing? Things that we like to do, actions. It's very interesting. It's like, where do you locate who you are? Where does that come from? You know? I currently locate my sense of self clearly in baking massive amounts of cupcakes. More seriously, I locate my sense of self in what I would have been doing this weekend, which is really similar physical motions, actually, standing over someone and gripping them. Sorry. Which is massage, making people feel good. And obviously lockdown is a bit of a hell for making other people feel good. Obviously there's work, and there's Tabby, who I am living with, and who is putting up with immense amounts of my bullshit, because Tabby is the most patient and wonderful person that I know. Right, there we go. God, I wish I had an electric whisk. Okay, lemon grater has been moved since I last used it. There we go. Okay. I don't need to worry about... These are the lemon swamp cakes that you all ordered, non-gluten-free version. I don't need to worry about cross-contamination of lemon zest. Mostly when I'm talking about cross-contamination, it's just saying it out loud so that I know that I'm doing it. Because obviously cooking gluten-y things and gluten-free things in the same kitchen at the same time is not ideal. But as long as we've got enough of a gap, it should be alright. But yeah, so chunk of lemon zest in there. I think I'm actually going to grate another lemon. In my opinion, lemons are one of the staples that every kitchen should have. And at the end of the fortnight or so, because they last about a fortnight, depending on how you keep them, if you haven't used them, shove them in the shove slices of them in the freezer, and that way you can amaze and enthrall your friends when they come over for gin and tonic and you pull out frozen lemon slices to go in there. They just look amazing. Maybe it's just my friends, I don't know. Although at the moment, obviously friends over for gin and tonic at a 2-metre distance in the back garden. My mum had her first gin and tonic, I think, with a mate at the weekend, which is quite good, really. And they sat on a patio and discussed plants, which is quite nice. Oh, this smells wonderfully lemony. I am just going to make sure and double down on the lemon flavour. I've added 1.5 lemon zests, more like 1 probably. This is some Sicilian lemon extract, which will just make sure gets a nice lemon flavour. the lemon juice, the fresh lemon juice, will go into, into the frosting. Right, I add all of this to the fat and sugar mix that I've just made, because that seems to distribute the flavour better. If I put the flavouring in now rather than wait till I've added the dry ingredients. I don't know. I have literally no idea if I'm just imagining that that's how this works, or genuinely my observations have any degree of accuracy. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Okay, we're going to get 4 eggs in here, which is quite exciting. It's a large amount of eggs. It's the quantities that are absolutely fascinating me, of the things that I'm using. Like, I just used 2 capfuls of Sicilian lemon zest. There's a huge amount of mix in here. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's the amount, because we're making an awful lot of cupcakes this afternoon. It's all good. I mean, I don't know, how long are you guys going to be watching for? Oh God, I've got more of you. Wow. Who have we got? Oh, hey, Sha. Oh, I'm glad it's soothing, Sammy. Okay, yeah, no, clearly just watch Mitch baking. Okay. I'm talking random bollocks. Okay. Or maybe you've got it on mute. You're not hearing me, you're just sort of observing some calming meditative baking. I don't know. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the amount. I don't know. Obviously, I'm baking quite a lot of cupcakes, so you need more ingredients. But it just it seems immense to me. I've got like catering-sized bags of sugar and things. Thank you very much to Bill and Mark. Also, thank you to Bill and Mark who are powering me through today. Actually, I probably shouldn't have shown you the. I don't know, what are the rules of advertising on YouTube? Cherry Coke gets me through anyway. Yeah. Oh, it's really interesting because obviously I associate adding loads of eggs to things and making it really liquidy. But of course, because this is within ratio, there's a large amount of stuff. But the mix is acting like, obviously, the much smaller mix does. Which, you know, makes sense because ratios and things. But I'm still surprised by it because, I don't know, I think I'm pretty much saying I'm an idiot now, aren't I? Okay, so flour, and it's a lemon cake, so I don't need half this to add cocoa. There we go. Right. Normally, yeah, no, I am going to add the dry ingredients to the wet. Maybe it's a good thing I don't have an electric whisk. I mean, I don't think that would be especially soothing. Might be soothing. Probably not though. Every 20 minutes I have to shut up. Every 2 minutes I have to shut up and go. The electric whisk happens. Yeah, no, that is my plan for the end of the year. I used to have this fantastic standing bowl and whisk thing. It wasn't a KitchenAid because obviously they're expensive. It was basically the cheap version of that. And oh my God, that was amazing. Because I could just set it going, pick up something from the other side of the kitchen, come back, and my mix was basically done for me. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Ooh, that smells chocolatey. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so that's the gluten-free chocolate cakes out of the oven now, which is quite exciting. So what my plan is because obviously the bottleneck is being created by the amount of cakes I can put into the oven at any one time, is I'll see what the time is by the time I finish frosting the first lot, and then I might not subject you to my stream anymore. Who knows? Right, if there's a whole load of you watching, there's a competition going on. It's 2 competitions actually. If you donate £2 on my Just Giving page and put in a guess as to how high this tower of cupcakes is, then you could win more cupcakes. Okay, so that one. We've got another competition. If you can put a couple of quid onto my Just Giving page, guess how many sprinkles are on that cupcake, and you could win more cupcakes. Sod it. If you win either of those competitions and you would like, in addition to future further cupcakes, I will. Oh, sorry, this is getting a bit tough. I will throw in a 20-minute consult via webcam on anything that you would like to learn to self-massage. Go on then. Shove a couple of quid in, guess the height of the cupcake tower, or how many sprinkles are on that cupcake. And you can win a self-massage consult, which would be quite exciting, really. Okay, so I've got the vanilla normal cupcakes, the lemon normal cupcakes, I've got the chocolate gluten-free and the lemon gluten-free, which are looking quite exciting. Okay, oh, that's nice and easy. Tip them out and they're all ready to go. And then this is quite nice actually, because I now have to worry even less about contamination, which is good, because that was causing me some anxieties. Right, so normal vanilla cupcakes can go in green. I'm going to spoon them in. Right. So. What we got? Yeah. Doing these in batches. I hate the way the cupcakes, the holders, they always double up. It's very irritating. I don't think I'm alone in that. Alright, how many of these vanilla cupcakes am I supposed to be making? Okay, 18. So we're doing them irritatingly enough in batches of 10. Let's see how many I can get out of this one. Okay. I was not expecting or anticipating this stream or this idea of me baking cupcakes to be this popular. Apparently it is, which is all good. But yeah, so I actually started out with the goal of 100 quid. And we so totally smashed it that I thought I'd be a bit cheeky and try and raise 250. At the point that I decided to raise 250, we had actually raised £210. So I was like, all right, this is popular. Go for it. That's not too bad. Okay. that's the first load of normal vanilla cupcakes have gone in. Quite nice. So we are now starting on the baking of normal chocolate, which is fine. Like I said, I knew there was going to be a bottleneck, so I'll see what time it is by the time I get to frosting the gluten-free ones, and then we'll see what happens. Oh, go on. What are people saying? I don't know about Challenge Annika. I mean, next year I'm just thinking, I'll bake cupcakes and invite you guys to come over. I'm not sure I've got the energy for a Challenge Annika thing. Okay, so I'm doing chocolate here. Right, I need caster sugar. Okay. Yeah, we're doing a silly amount of chocolate mix as well because chocolate and lemon was so popular as flavours. I mean, I knew chocolate was going to be, but I wasn't actually surprised expecting lemon to be quite as popular. I don't know why. I really like lemon, that's why I'm baking them. But yeah. Chocolate and lemon, massively popular flavours. I think what caught me by surprise was the fact that of the gluten-free ones, nobody went for the vanilla gluten-free option. So I guess that means all gluten-free people are a bit kinky or something. Sorry. I think I'm hilarious. Okay, I guess I still need to measure that. It's butter. Right. As I said, I've got the butter resting above the oven, which is the single best idea that I've had actually. Because it's just slightly melty and easier to mix it, which is what I like. Although I am doing a lot with my hands, so I tend to. Am I using an entire pat of butter in this? Oh, not. Yeah, no, I think I am, aren't I? Okay, and a little bit more, I think. Okay. So yeah, like I said, raising money for the Alzheimer Society. Because Alzheimer's, it's a fuck of a thing. And the Alzheimer Society produce a lot of booklets and things, some of which are very useful in a professional setting. Obviously, some of which are incredibly useful for the person, because often when you get dementia diagnosis, you're still pretty witty. Not always. But then you've got this absolutely fucking terrifying thing coming at you. And you've really got to reach out for support for that. Like I said, the Alzheimer Society provide leaflets. They provide people to touch on the end of a phone line, and depending on the part of the country you're in, they actually have physical people go in and sort of, they'll come and they'll talk to you in your own home and sort of say, okay, this is happening. Here's how you manage it. And also, here's some trials if you would like to get involved with various elements of research, because they are researching. One thing that annoys me about care homes is there's a lot of emphasis put on in care homes of, without a cure, we're nothing. And that annoys me because we're actually quite a long way from a cure. We're a long way from treatment that works for a lot of people, actually. I mean, you might have heard of some drugs being used and some diets being used. And mostly what that does is just keep you as aware as possible for as long as possible. So it's odd to call it a treatment, really. And a cure is definitely, something that needs funding and researching. But there are people right now who have dementia and Alzheimer's, and they still need care. So if you're working in a care home and you're of the opinion that, oh well, only a cure is the way to go, I think that's not quite where your head should be at. But then I'm also concerned with some of the dignity talk as being a cop-out. Dignity, if it's understood as a function of autonomy, I'm all for. Dignity is an excuse not to do things for a person pisses me the fuck off. Oh, it wouldn't be dignified for them to do a bungee jump. True, do they want to do a bungee jump? Do they still have the mental capacity to say that they want to? Then work out if it can happen. But don't use dignity as a cop-out. I can think of a lot of other reasons why you don't want somebody in their 80s to do a bungee jump. Heart condition being the one that really sort of occurs to me. But yeah. So it's hard, don't get me wrong. It is hard work working with somebody who has dementia and is losing their faculties and their ability to know what their faculties were. Equally, it's really interesting how much the sense of self is located within activities or within situations. I find it very strange. I don't know, strange is probably the wrong word. I find it fascinating that in a situation it is possible in the early stages, again I'm mostly talking early stages, for somebody to suddenly start being themselves. In my grandma's case, this is word games, board games usually, and that was early stage. I believe card games certainly were a possibility as well. And she'd suddenly be more herself. She knew how to play the games, and there was clearly the brain power, the I don't know what I'm trying to say, the pathways, the neural pathways were there, and they weren't just kicking in for the game. They were able to kick in for other things as well. My client, dinner out in a restaurant. That's where he suddenly can be himself. There's not the blocks that he has in more day-to-day life now. Again, I am talking early stages. Right, yes, we're on to chocolate, so I do want to make sure this is as liquidy as possible. It's funny because it's about things being sort of so ingrained into your brain that you don't have to think to do them, and yet you are following a thought-out pathway. Right, okay. So, I am a big fan of the way I make chocolate sponge. I'm just going to check the time. Yes, so you should still be in there. You should be fine. Right, okay. Because I experimented when I was really into baking as a teen with how low could I get the ratio of flour to cocoa. Okay. Now, you can do it two-thirds to a third. You cannot do 3/4 to a quarter. Doesn't quite work. Right. But what we're doing today is half and half. Okay, I've used up all my cocoa, so we are going to cheat a little and use some very nice drinking chocolate, which sometimes, don't worry, this is not the dairy-free one. I know some people are just like, well, obviously you use drinking chocolate in chocolate sponge recipes. No. I like my chocolate to be hella chocolatey. Some people find that too bitter. I mean, I really like bitter chocolate, so yeah, I don't mind. So that little bit of drinking chocolate at the end will just sweeten it a little bit. There'll be a little bit of milk powder in there. There'll be a little bit of sugar. And so hopefully this cupcake mix is going to taste hella delicious. But the thing with cocoa, when you use quite as much of it as I do, is it makes the mixture really dry, because obviously it's a slightly different consistency than flour or something. So you want to make sure that your liquids don't dry out too much. And I cannot explain what I'm doing. It's like when I mix it, I don't know whether I speed up or I slow down or something, but I've got a technique where I'm like, and this is the way I stir it to make it go really liquidy. And I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea if I'm even doing anything, if it's just psychological. But yeah. And yes, this mixture is going to end up looking a lot drier. So, God. Yeah, this really does feel like massage, incidentally, because I'm just sort of stirring this. And, really, I should have much better guns than this. I don't actually bake often enough without an electric whisk to cause guns. Much so I would really like, good arms. If I'm ever going to get on Ninja Warrior, I need really good arms. Things that made my dad laugh at me in symbols, me declaring that I'm going to get on the UK Ninja Warrior. Alright. Okay, I'm just going to check, because I have got an oven and it's not quite, yeah. The oven has been on for a couple of bakes now, so it's reasonable temperature. Okay. So I've got the chocolate mix done. I've got the lemon mix done. And at this point, it's just waiting for spooning out purposes. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear up here and decontaminate, and then you can watch me frosting the gluten-free cupcakes, whilst reminding you that if you do a £2 donation and guess how many sprinkles on this cupcake, you can win more cupcakes and a consultation of self-massage with me. And if you guess how tall this tower of cupcakes is for 2 of your Earth pounds on my Just Giving page, then same thing again, really. Okay, right, yes. So I'm going to clear up possibilities of contamination. And then I'm going to frost some gluten-free cupcakes over here. It'll be very exciting, doubtless. Oh. Oh. Yeah, human contact. That's strange. It's a weird and alien concept, right? Oh. So, lockdown. Particularly cruel if you are losing touch with who you are, where you are, etc. Because I know a lot of people are sort of posting about how difficult it's been with children. Routine is massively important for anybody with dementia, especially anybody whose family is trying to get them to stay in their own homes. And that's hugely important because familiarity, routine, these are things that help the human brain stay as functional as possible for as long as possible. And obviously, lockdown has not been kind to those who had a hard time struggling to comprehend exactly what was happening. So you've got a lot of guilt now within, especially family carers, because they were following the rules. I'm not going to bitch about eyesight tests and driving to Durham, or I'll try not to. Because anybody who's been caring for the elderly in this, it is a constant risk assessment of, is it more risky for them to die of COVID-19, or is it more risky for them to be exposed to whatever pre-existing condition is happening? Which is why, ordinary people are constantly looking at professional bodies and, the government to go, well, okay, how do we make this risk assessment? What things do we consider? And right now there's a hell of a lot of guilt because, you expect the rules to be there with a view of this is the information, this is how best you make your call. COVID-19 is X dangerous. Then of course you get certain political twats going, oh, are you done for following the rules? Like, yay, great. Okay, so we have our gluten-free cakes. Oh, very exciting. Okay. So I'm going to do the swamp cakes first. I'm not even ironically calling them swamp cakes at this stage. I've just admitted, this is what I do. That's frustrating. Okay. Right, I'm going to ice them all together and then divide them up. Okay. So we're up to about 3 o'clock. Like I said, I'm going to stream you through to me icing these things, and then it's a case of just me shoving things in the oven, which isn't so interesting to watch. Let me see how the Alzheimer's page is going. Like I said, we've got £10 left to make, which I'm hoping to make today during the stream. Oh no, wait a minute, I've just refreshed the page. Okay, so all right. Okay, well, we've made the donation without any of the competitions being done. But yeah, I hope that's worth it, Sammy. Thank you. That was brilliant. Okay, we've made our donation. Fantastic. We've made our I know what I'm talking about, don't I? Okay, I'm trying to put the link on the thing, and it's just not. Don't know why. Okay. Right, let's do some frosting. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see where it takes us up to, really. Yeah, so I'm quite enjoying this this cupcake day thing. Obviously, this is a practice for my sumo streaming, which I'm intending on doing when the summer basho happens, which looks like it's going to happen. The Japanese Sumo Association is pretty hot on things. We have actually had our first sumo wrestler unfortunately die of COVID-19. We've got a whole stable infected. They're not anybody that anybody outside of Japan will have really seen unless you follow all of the ranks of sumo on YouTube or similar. I don't, because it's too hard. It's too much hassle. Okay, so I do need to save some of these lemons actually. So I'm looking at these are really juicy lemons. I'm actually getting quite a lot out of them, which I wasn't expecting. So I'm actually only going to use the juice of one lemon for the gluten-free cupcakes, because if I tried to use more, I think I'd regret it. Oh. All right, there we go. Really juicy. I love that. Okay. So at this point, I start using my Russian dolls, which of course I've moved. Yeah. It's moved to somewhere that I could see them, obviously. You're so adult. But hell yeah, my lemons are well juicy. Right, okay, I'll stop being silly. Okay, so that's 1 cup. Let's see how it goes. Okay. Yeah, so my frosting mix is caster sugar, and the juice of a lemon, and it's going to be 2 cups of caster sugar to 1 lemon. or is it? Am I going to regret that? I am. Okay, so 2 cups of caster sugar to 1.5. Let's see how this goes. I'm glad this is relaxing. It's pretty chill to do. Let's see how the cupcakes are doing. There we go. Much better. Okay, so that's the first of our non-gluten-free cupcakes out of the oven. They're looking pretty good, actually. Quite happy with these. The thing I love about silicone baking cases is there's no struggle to get them out unless you try and do something clever. They just come straight out. Okay, so next lot of vanilla cupcakes in, and I will get on with the frosting of the glutinous ones. Having just told you how immensely easy it is to get things out of silicone baking cases, one of these cupcakes is just determined to stay inside its baking case. Because it needs to prove me wrong, god damn it. Why would I tell you it was easy? Clearly I lie. Aha, it came out eventually. Okay. Right. So now I've got to be really careful about cross-contamination. So this is going onto the edge of the counter that is away from the gluten-free stuff, and then I'll be going via the sink to wash my hands quite obsessively, really. But yes. Okay. And now is the moment of truth to see whether I've actually got enough cupcakes. So, enough mix, I mean, obviously. Okay, it looks like I might have enough cupcakes. Because that was my other concern, that I was going to run out of mix. Okay. We look like, yeah. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put some yellow cases in because we've got some spare holes. That sounds really bad. There's some spare cases, so I'm going to start the first of the lemon cupcakes going in. This is another reason why I'm colour coding by case, because that way I don't need to worry that I've made a mistake on him. Basically, I can tell what cupcakes are what, essentially, which is useful to be able to do. Okay. Thank you very much for your generous donations. We have hit my target of 250, which is pretty good. And these are now going in the oven. And I am washing my hands. And I'm going to go back to creating the lemon frosting. Yeah, I really like lemon. I think it's amazing. The other flavour that I really like is that's a bit weird. Is absinthe. I'm sorry. Well, obviously it's absinthe, but what I was actually intending on saying whilst thinking about absinthe was aniseed. But I find that they're really divisive flavours. Right, so my funky attempt to make these special for the gluten-free people is I am jabbing holes into the lemon drizzle, into the cupcake. And then, yes, enter the holes. Okay. Because the frosting is not really cupcake frosting, what I'm going to do is probably spoon this over the swamp cakes a couple of times, and then I'll add some shiny decoration. But that is going into the holes, making them, I don't know, just a bit more interesting rather than me going, hey, I made you fairy cakes and everybody else is getting more exciting cupcakes, really. So that's the problem with like gluten-free, dairy-free, vegetarian, vegan, whatever. It's often it's had a thing removed, but nothing put there instead. Which depends how anxious you are about food, really, because if you're very anxious about food, that's probably exactly what you want. But I often feel it's a little bit of a shame when it comes to sweet things, especially because you don't really eat cupcakes for their nutritional value. If you eat cupcakes for your nutritional value, I'm concerned about you. You eat them because they're fun. And it's a very it's why I like cooking and baking. It's a very basic human thing to share food and socialise and share a part of yourself. It's probably why a lot of people with dementia, or in my experience, which obviously we're talking anecdotally rather than evidentially, why you find it easy to return and think along the neural pathways that make you yourself. When you're sharing food. I couldn't find anything on the Alzheimer Society webpage or in their bump that they sent me to say why they had a cupcake day. But I think a good justification for why they should be having a cupcake day is it's something that people with dementia can participate in. Oh my god, I'm up to 7 of you? Say hi. I hope this isn't, boring. I have a feeling some of you guys are going to be Empire people thinking, oh, this is an Empire stream, when it's not. So I apologise in advance. Okay, so that's the lemon frosting on the. Actually, no. If I hold them here, you can probably see them on the gluten-free cupcakes, which are going over here. And now we are doing chocolate frosting. I've just used all the cocoa up, haven't I? Let's have a quick look on what's in this drinking chocolate. Ooh! Oh, I'm in luck. No milk products are okay. I planned this out so well. Okay. So this is another thing that I do by eye because my brain tells me I know what I'm doing. Because I can. Because luckily enough, my neural pathways are still connecting to each other and they're not spreading apart yet, probably, we think. And I need to use my cup measurements for this. Okay. So yeah, I'm doing very, very basic chocolate icing for this. I'm boiling the kettle. Oh, hello, Lou. I've done your gluten-free lemon. I think you were gluten-free lemon. And I'm now on to the chocolate gluten-free frosting. And to prevent you all getting bored, and because we reached our target of £250 reached for the Alzheimer Society, I'm going to finish frosting the chocolate gluten-free ones, and then I'm going to say bye-bye from the stream because otherwise it's just going to get repetitious of basically waiting for things to come out of the oven. And that's a little bit dull, so there's now piles of cupcakes in my kitchen, which is quite exciting. Oh, yes. So for the other bits, the other frosting, for the non-gluten-free stuff, I am actually using a bit of cream to get some lift on it. Oh, I remember. Yes, hold on. Let's do this properly, shall we? Let's make a buttercream, chocolate buttercream. This is gluten and dairy free Marge, so it's not brilliant, but it's not too bad actually. And I will add some boiling water. I'm not making the way you would make a proper buttercream, in that you use really quite a lot of butter, but it's essentially just a bit of a thickener and just means that it's not just the chocolate icing, it's actually a bit more like cupcake frosting. See aforementioned comments of if you're going to be gluten or dairy free or both, let's not make it too dull, essentially. Right, that's beginning to look and smell chocolatey, which is quite nice. Okay, so those of you who are wondering when you're going to get your cupcakes, if you live locally, then they will be delivered to you tonight. If you don't live locally, then I'm making another batch of cupcakes on Monday and hitting the earliest Monday post that I can get. And then we'll see. You decided to chance it. We'll see what happens. But I didn't want to make you your cupcakes on the stream and then have to post them on a Saturday because that would not work well for anybody. Right, do I actually want to add? I don't think I do. So, let's frost some cupcakes. Those of you who were thinking I was going to use an icing bag, I prefer a more rustic approach to my cupcake frosting. There we go. Actually, whenever my sister and I have had competitions of baking and food in the past, including the bloody paella competition the year before last, which still needs a rematch, she tends to get points for it looks good. The only mark against her in the paella contest, where her paella looked amazing, so I can't complain. I'm going to. The only sort of mark against her was that it might have tasted a bit more like a risotto. There we go. But it looked so good. There we go. So I'm claiming this is rustic frosting. I'm slightly swirling it all the same direction, but it's essentially it's going to look like it was piled on, but it's actually going to look slightly better than if it was really piled on because of the swirl. Just because I don't have an icing bag. And to be honest, if icing bags are anything like nail art or similar, if it was like sculpting, I'd probably be alright. But if it's more sort of like nail art, you probably wouldn't want to see me destroy a perfectly good cupcake. She says, putting her thumb into the icing. It's okay, I've washed my hands. There we go. With my efforts with an icing bag. Having said that, never used an icing bag. No idea whether I've been good with it or not. Like I said, if it's like sculpting, probably alright. It's more like any of the beauty modules I did on the way to massage qualifications. No. If you've ever heard me talk about failing my nail exam a zillion times. Like some people are supposed to do beauty. I am not one of those people. However, I'm very good at massage. Right, there we go. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Frosting tastes pretty good too, can report. Okay. Now, I can't use any of the sprinkles on the gluten-free stuff because the sprinkles have got interesting preservatives in them. However, what I can use and will is some edible glitter, which is just sugar. So there we go. Oh, gluten-free people, your cupcakes are ready. And they're going to go in the fridge. This is a very hot kitchen at this point. I'm going to move things around the fridge to make sure they don't. There we go. Right. Okay, so that's the lemon drizzles almost done. Do I need to ice the lemon drizzle cakes any further? No, I don't need to. So we are now on to frosting for the non-glutinous stuff. Just don't need to worry once I put this away about decontamination of everything, because things are separated. Okay, we're all good. We are good. Am I still streaming? I am still streaming. Lemon gush. Thanks for that, Laura. Okay. Right, chocolate, vanilla. No, not vanilla, lemon. Vanilla's over here. Okay. Cupcakes that are still on are looking quite good. These are the vanilla cupcakes, so they want vanilla frosting. And yeah, I am reciting that out loud to myself to make sure I do the thing, because otherwise things will go badly wrong. So, yes. And we're now getting slightly into the realms of the ridiculous, because obviously we are yes, this is double cream. The ones that I am posting, I will not be doing with double cream because, yeah, obviously not. Because even with the best will in the world, that would just go badly wrong. Right. I am putting some vanilla essence in here because I want my vanilla cakes to actually taste of vanilla. That kettle boiled, so I'm just going to add some boiling water. Right, slightly overestimated how much to add. So I'm going to alternate these. Okay, that's pretty good. Right, I managed to get that nice swirl. I don't always manage to do that, as evidenced by the gluten-free stuff, although I am going to claim that the gluten-free stuff I didn't. Because the frosting is now oozing off the cakes. I'm going to claim with the gluten-free stuff that because it's unusual material, that's why it didn't swirl properly. We'll see. Wow. Frosting cakes. Not my specialism. Anyone surprised by that? I don't know. Might have used slightly too much water. Okay, now some of these are looking alright. God damn it. It is impossible to bake and not lick your fingers. As I recall, when I did the vegan challenge ages ago, I was having to bake for something I'd agreed in advance, and obviously the frosting wasn't vegan. And I made it almost the entire month, which was the challenge. And then the final day I was baking this cake, which had cream in it or something, I licked my damn fingers. I was like, I had done vegan wine. I had sort of debated for this challenge whether I was going to eat honey products. And oh my God, I'd taken this thing so seriously. My inability to go without licking my damn fingers. Yeah, congratulations. Right, I've got one wafer flour left, so that's going on this one. And then I'm going to decorate with some gold sprinkles. I say decorate, I'm basically just shoving them on there because my cakes usually end up looking like a 2-year-old has gone, colour! And I see no reason to regret that at all. That's an entirely legitimate way of baking cakes. Okay, so you have now watched me bake live for the Alzheimer's Society. Please note the flags that we've got. You've watched me frost a couple of sets of cakes with more or less success. And I have baked live on air for pretty much 2 hours. So I'm going to finish off these cakes on my own. Expect deliveries tonight. And thank you very much for helping raise money for the Alzheimer's Society. So I'm going to go and shut off the stream now.